Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about tax adjustments, how to adjust your tax. So in this video I'm providing a guide, a walkthrough guide with you, telling you, walking through the steps on how to make your tax, to file for your tax and do your tax adjustments. I'm sure this is something that you have been longing to do, and this is something you have to do it because it's your money. You have to get it back because it doesn't in Finland you have the right to file for tax, and include all the things that all the expenditures that you've made while making the money that you paid to tax. So it's your right to apply for to do your tax adjustments, and you don't want to miss this opportunity to do your tax adjustments now. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned, let's dive into it. Let's look at the guide, and of course walk through it, and I'm sure at the end you should know how to do or file your tax by yourself. Bit about the tax adjustments. Okay, this is a very legal something. It's your right. If you're working in Finland, you should adjust your tax at the end of each tax year, because now the Vero, the tax office, they are sending informations to your own Oma Vero Pistefi, your own Vero, your own tax system, and where you have to log in to your account. You have to log into your account, and then you file for an adjustment. So these adjustments are kind of like you are telling the tax office that, hey, this money that I made, these are the expenditures that I incurred when making this money. So they have to calculate and give you back a portion of it. They are not going to give you all the money, but the government has responsibilities to help you in making that money. So we are going to walk through the guides. I'm going to show you what are the things that you should include in your tax declaration, what are the things that should be there in your adjustments, so that the government understands that these are the things that the expenditures that you made while making the money. So let's continue from here. Normally you have to come to my tax, so you have to go to Vero Pistefi. I already made this in English, so here are the options. You can put this in English, Finnish, or Swedish, or whatever language which is good for you. I assume English will be better for the purpose of this video. So I'm going to go straight away by going to login. I'll log into my account. So you have to go there. It depends on what bank you are using. So for me, I go with Nordea, and like same with everybody, you have to log into your account and confirm it, which I know most of us know how to do these things. So if you haven't activated your online ID yet, you have to activate it so you can access your page. I presume most of us have done it, so you go and accept this page and you continue to the service. Now it takes me to my Oma Vero. So here you have to accept that my tax, you have to take that I'm managing my own affairs. So I take here, I'm the one, and it takes me here. So this is the page. So what I should do is that I want to adjust my tax, so I go straight away to where there is the pre-completed check pre-completed tax. So you have to click on this one. So most often you have a due date. So this is my due date, which is 21st of May 2024. So I still have few months to go. So you have to remember to check your due date and do this as soon as possible, so that you kind of file for your tax adjustment and get your decision well in time. Okay, so when I click that, it's going to take me now to the next page. So I will just go to, so it brings me now to this page where yeah, so it comes to this page. So what I should do is that it's you have to come to where they say make corrections to pre-completed tax and return, and this is where you have to go to. So you have to click on this button again. It now takes us to the next page. Okay, so now we are in this page, which starts with the background, pre-completed income and deductions, and you have other income, other deductions, and preview and send. So where we are so much interested, I kind of assume that you've already checked the decisions that they sent, so there is no need for you to check this pre-completed income and deductions, depending on if you've checked the letter which Vero sent to you. So you have to go. This is where we are really interested in these other deductions, and of course the other incomes. It's where, let's say you have a house and you're renting it, or you have an apartment you are renting, you want to tell the government that, hey, I made some money from this rent. You can also inform, but let's just go with the general point of view that, okay, you don't have anything, you just want to adjust your tax. So this where there is the background, so you just have to first go, you have to go to next. Okay, this is next. The next button is right down at the right side, so I click for it to take me to the next page. Okay, now I'm in the pre-completed income and deductions, so I've already checked this. I don't have anything to check. If you have anything to check, you can just click there and verify everything. So I come, there is also the next page here, so I take next, whereby it takes me to the other incomes and other income. So I can just kind of quickly show you what it says. Most often the things are kind of checked on no, so most of them are already in no, so there is nothing you have to change if you haven't had any extra income that you want to inform the government about. So for example, I already talked about the housing, or you are receiving foreign income or something, you are having some supports that the government doesn't know, you can inform. So you can just click yes and then you inform about those. But if not, you just continue with the no, which is like automatic, and go now to the next page, whereby this is where we are interested in. So this is where we want to do our other, we have to come here, these other deductions. This is where we wanted, this is our aim. So I'll take this stuff a little bit up so you can see what I'm actually doing. So the first thing which comes to mind is actually our we have here the travel expenses. Okay, so we have travel expenses. So this is the first thing that I think most people should do, or you have to do it. So come to travel expenses, it was automatically clicked to no. You have to say yes, I had travel expenses. Okay, so you click the yes button, and then it now says that add new travel expenses. So here you have to click yes, because like I said earlier, you had travel expenses that you are telling the government that the money that you made during that year, you had some travel expenses that you want to be compensated for. So this is, you now come to add new travel expenses. Now the next question it asks you, it wants to know, for example, was it commune or other than commune. So you should take commune if you hadn't had some business trips and everything. If you are just a regular worker like me, I haven't had any kind of business trips or all those kind of stuff, so that one doesn't concern me. Let's first of all think, if you are using a bus to go to work, you can now click on public transport, and it asks for your address and all those things, and then you have to fill in the expenses. How much do you pay? So you have to put it, and it comes like automatic. So if how much you pay per month for your bus, you have to put it here, and then it's going to calculate automatically for the 12 months. So but let's go to the general view, whereby most people use their cars to work. So we will take this one, other than public transport. So it falls in where you use your own car to work. And so what's the reason why you use your car to work? The government wants to know, tax wants to know why. Because there's good transport system in Finland, so, and also in Helsinki region and all those things. Why are you using your bus to work? So you're telling the government, or why are you using your car to work, sorry, you're telling the government that one way walking distance is at least 3 kilometers. So that's the reason why you're going to work. Some people usually say that there's more than 2 hours of waiting time, depending on where you're working, depending on where you live and where you're working. So I usually go with, or what I recommend is that you put one way walking distance is at least 3 kilometers. If you think that walking from your house to your workplace is at least 3 kilometers, then you should go with that one, because most often, sometimes this one depends on what time you are working and all those things. But I prefer, or I recommend you go with this one. But the first one, there is no public transport available at all. I don't think so. It depends on where you live and where you're working. But anyways, either of these, you have to think where is your workplace and where are you living. So you have to think about those. But I will recommend you go with this one. And if you've thought about it and that one is best, and then you should just click on, of course you can click on multiple things as well, depending on what suits you. So but me, I go with one. So, and that's what you should do, so to make your applications more easier. Now the next thing is that you want to tell the government your means of transport. How do you go to work? So you can just come here and say own car. So if you're using your car, so you can do with your own car. And of course there are other things that you can put. For example, if you're biking, so you get 100 euros per year, and it depends. There are other things that you put, but for me, I'm using my own car to work. So, and the government pays 30 cents per kilometer, so I take that one. And then this one is always tick automatic. So of course it makes sense that if I go to work with my car, I obviously come back from work with my car. So that's why this place is like automatically yes. But if you go to work with your car and maybe your wife or somebody brings you back home, and you can choose the no, so that it's not counted as a round trip. But for me, this one works perfectly, so yes. And now this is my home address. So for example, let's say the government, this comes automatic, so they know where you are living. But the next question is that they want to know what's the address of the workplace where you work. So let's say, for example, I work in let's say Makelankatu. I can just say I'm working. Let's say the address, you have to put the precise address. So I will put Makelankatu 5 to be precise. And then the next question is daily one-way travel distance. So when you're going to work, how many kilometers do you cover? Like how many kilometers do you drive when you're going to work? That's the question. Now what I usually recommend is that go put this address in Google Map, put your home address, and then you put your home address and you put the address where you are working, so that you have the accurate kilometers. So when you put this, it's going to give you a certain amount of kilometers, and then you can now fill in that kilometer which Google Maps shows you to be very precise, so that you don't get messed up with the tax things. You cannot cheat them. So let's say, for example, it takes me 17 kilometers. This is just for example. And once you just have to put one way, and when I just click outside, and then it calculates automatic. So it calculates like, okay, if one way is 17 kilometers, it means that both sides go and come, it's 34 kilometers per day. And now the next thing is that the tax commuting is of course 1 year, which starts from January 1st to December 31st. So what the question now is number of commuting days during the specified interval. This means that how many days in 1 year have you gone to work? Have you been to work, or have you been working in this place? Let's put it like that. So if this, for example, is a permanent job, and let's say you work 5 days a week, the normal working time. So let's say you work 5 days a week. It means that, I'm just trying to do the calculations. If you are working 5 days a week and there is 12 months in 1 year, and the government calculates things, or assumes that in 12 months in a year you have 1 month holiday, which means that you are working in 11 months. So you have to take, let's say, 5 days a week times 4, which means that 5 days a week times 4 weeks, it gives you 20 days. And 20 days now, 20 days times 11, which means that you're working 20 days in 1 month and times 11 months. So I'll say 20 days times 11, it now gives me 220 days. So I'm telling the government that I've been working in this place for 220 days in a year. Okay, so I now fill in 220 days in that place. So what happens is that once you click out of the box, and then the amount calculates automatically. You don't have to do the calculation by head, but when you're doing the other ones, like the days you're going to work, you have to calculate it manually by yourself. So once you've done this, and the thing, it calculates automatically, and it says now that, okay, your travel expenses for this year, in regards to this job, you have spent 2,244 euros. Is that okay? If yes, then you say okay, it's okay. Now let's go further by saying that, let's use for example, okay, this is your main job. Let's say you have 3 jobs, whereby you have a main job, and you have some 2 jobs whereby it's kind of gig jobs, whereby you're going there from time to time, and so you want to include them in this place, or rather you have 2 permanent jobs, I don't know, but let's be realistic that you have 2 other jobs where they are just gig jobs. You go there here and there from time to time. Now you can add them here by saying that add new travel expense. You click there, it opens again, and you go to commune, the same thing. If you're using your car, you go the same thing, other than public transport, yes, and you scroll down. You take one-way distance is more than 3 kilometers, yes, and it's at least 3 kilometers. And then the means of transport, we still go with using your own car, and this kind of comes automatic, so you're using the round trip. And let's say the next address where you are working is somewhere in, I don't know, let's say Van Takatu is just an address, Van Takatu 6 or 5, anything, and you have to go to Google Map, calculate how many kilometers is it from your house to this your workplace. How many kilometers is it? Let's say, for example, this also is like maybe 18 kilometers. You've calculated from Google Maps, and it shows that it's 17 kilometers there, or 18 kilometers, and then you put 18 kilometers, and when you click outside, it shows 36 kilometers, which means that it's round trip. You're going and coming, it takes you 36 kilometers. Now this is very important, guys. Listen to this and you have to calculate this, like, think like you are the tax officer and this file comes to you. How do you have to calculate it? Now let me tell you what you should do. Go to your tax decision, check how much. Let's say, for example, this job, it was a gig job that you are doing, and let's say the company's name is Seure. This is just an example. You're working with Seure, and it's your part-time job, right? Now it's difficult for you to calculate, to know from your head how many days you went to this specific place last year. It's easy to calculate it. Let me tell you the trick. Just for example, let's say your gig job, I don't know the name. You can always see how much you made from that job in your tax decision that comes to you by in March, when they are making the tax decision. So that your tax certificate has how much you made in each workplace wherever you are working. So go to that tax decision, check how much did you make in Seure, that gig job. Let's say you made 9,000 euros. Okay, 9,000 euros, that's fine. So you can say 9,000 euros. How much are they paying you per hour? Okay, let's say per hour you're being paid 14 euros 50 cents per hour. That's an example. So you say 14 euros 50 cents. How many hours do you work per day when you go there? Okay, you say maybe it's 7 hours, 7.5 hours. Let's say 7.5 hours. So you take 14 euros 50 cents times 7.5. Now it gives me 108 euros. It means that every time when I go to that workplace, I make 108 euros. Now 108 euros. If my tax certificate shows that I made 9,000 euros from this place, it means that I should take 9,000 euros divided by 108 euros to tell me how many days actually I went to this place. So you can just simply take 9,000 euros, which shows that that's the amount you made in that place during working this gig job, divided by the amount you get per day in that place. So in this scenario, it shows that I'm making per day 108 euros. 108 euros, you just take 9,000 euros divided by 108 euros. It gives me 83.3, so approximately 83 days. So the tax doesn't want you to be very accurate, but you should be very close to accurate. You shouldn't exaggerate or say some things that are not true, but you should be very close to what is the truth. So let's say this is like, okay, 83 days. I can say, okay, well, 83.3 days. 0.3 day doesn't exist, so I will say 83 days. That was the amount of days that I went to this place in that year. And by clicking outside, it calculates automatically, and it shows that I spent 896 euros working, making this money. And then you can go down and say, okay, that's fine. Now when we come to this, now shows that, okay, in the whole of that year I spent 3,000 days. My own responsibility is 750 euros, and the government owes me 2,390 euros, which this is what you are claiming. So they are saying that total deduction for travel expenses is 2,300 and this. So this is what you are claiming to the government. Okay, let's say that you had the 3 jobs like I said before. You can still come to this place and add new travel expense and do the same thing what I demonstrated earlier. For the sake of this video, I don't want it to be too long, so I'm not going to repeat it again. If you have more than 1 job and 2 jobs and 3 jobs and 4 jobs, you can just do the same procedure what I did for the second one, and it works like that. So always remember, the place where you work, you can always check how much you made from that place by checking your tax certificate, which has been sent to you, and from the amount that you made in that place, you can calculate how many days you worked in that year, so that you can now fight for the government to give you the money that you kind of spent when you were going to work in that place. So it makes sense, but you have to remember, don't exaggerate, because they know actually how much approximately you made, and they calculate the money you spent in regards to how much you made. So you cannot spend more than what you made. So you have to think about those. You have to try to be as accurate as possible. That's why feeling these things and listening to a video like this till the end helps you a lot. Now let's go to the next expenditure, which you want to tell the government that, hey, I had these expenses while making the income which I made, and you taxed me upon. So you want to tell the government that, hey, there are these other expenditures that I made. This one which says expenses for production of income. It says no. I say yes. I had some expenses, of course, that I made while making this income. So the government now says, okay, open the specifications. Now this one, training expenses. So it depends if you work in a place where you pay for your own training and development. But of course, we know most employers in Finland, and it's the duty of the employers to kind of offer trainings to their employees, and this usually doesn't apply to basic employers like me and most of us. So what I usually do is I go to other expenses. So I'm telling the government that there are other expenditures that I incurred while making the money you taxed me. So for example, I'm eating at workplace, and my lunch in a day it's €11.50. You can now tell the government, hey, I'm making the money which I made. I was eating at work, and per day my lunch is €11.50 at work. So €11.50, that's how much I spend or how much I eat at work. So now you can now go back and say, at your permanent job you work 220 days. So I will say 220 days times €11.50. So it gives me 2,530 euros. I'm telling the government this is the amount of money that I spent while at work. I'm not going to include the other gig work jobs because first of all, I know that there are some days that I left from that job, I came home after working, and then from home I went to the next job. So when I came home, I ate at home before going to the next job. So I'm not going to tell the government to give me money for that, but they are going to, I'm just doing the basic calculations for per day. So per day, I work 5 days a week. Some days I'm doing long days, but I come home and then I go to the next job, and that's where you're putting your daily meal. Not if you're working here in the morning, you have to put lunch and you are putting some. No, it doesn't work like that. The lunch itself alone is okay. And then you want to tell the government also that you have work tools. For these work tools means that things that you use to generate the income. Now I'm having a work shoe. It depends if you're working in a place whereby you have to buy your work shoe by yourself. The company provides work clothes, but you have to buy work shoes and some basic things. I buy the work shoe that I will use per year, and this cost me, I have my receipts, so 600 euros. That's how much I spend to make the money which from where you taxed me from. So this one comes now, it brings me to 3,130 euros, and this year I'm satisfied, so I say okay. Once I now take okay, these expenditures for production of other income and wage, this you shouldn't take this one. The first one is fine. After that, you just come straight to where it says next. You come to next and click next. So after that, you have to come, the last part is to preview and send. So what it means is that you should come and check the information what you've sent to the government. Are these things correct? Are the things that you kind of the things that you claimed, are they okay? If they are fine, okay, and then you can proceed. But if something is missing, you can go back and kind of check and tell, or maybe you edit again and send to the government for them to, to have the to make the decision on this thing. But anyway, you have to always check that you filled everything correctly, do the calculations like I said. In case you missed out something, remember you can just scroll the video a little bit behind, put it as slow as possible, listen to every detail that I mentioned in this video, so that you have your tax things as accurate as possible. So after this, you can just preview and then send. That's all, and you have your tax things ready. And after it's been reviewed, you have a new decision, and hopefully they are paying you some huge money back, because you can see that you were in this situation. I'm already asking for almost 5,000 something euros, and this is just a scenario. And if I have to do my own, I take my time, I really go through it and do it detailedly and ensure that everything has been done properly. And this is what I advise you to do, because the tax people, they are very aware of everything, and once you're going a little bit out of line, and then you have to explain more, so they'll send you a letter to explain what you meant by this. So that's why you have to calculate everything. And imagine, just think that you are the tax person or the taxation officer looking at this file. Is this realistic, yes or no? So you have to think of all those things when making these things. So guys, we have come to the end of this video. I hope this really helped you. I hope this helps you to to file for your tax and to make your tax adjustments and all those things. The unfortunate thing is that if you didn't know about these things maybe years ago, you will not get, because it's gone. You have a period that you have to apply and adjust the tax. So if that was not done, then that's it. So but anyways, now you know. Now you've gone through the process, now you've seen everything. I urge you to go straight to your computer. You can do it, watch the video over and over again, play the video alongside while you're doing it so that you don't make any mistakes and you do it properly. And I wish you get your money that you spent while making the income that you have been taxed upon. So, but hey, don't remember to subscribe in this channel. This is where you get all very vital informations like this. Please subscribe, share to as many people as possible for them to get this information. Also, please like, subscribe, and also comment, leave some comments. Let's see how helpful has this information been to you, and let's see how we can move the community forward. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, this is the only place where you get such informations from. So ciao.